So this little tomato right here is a determinate variety called the Thunderbird. It is the first time I've ever purchased it, so this is what it shows on here. Now you turn on the back and it says an improved quality, high yielding, hot set determinate. I don't know what that means. Round variety with a strong plant and good general disease resistance, fruiter extra large in size, very firm, and good shelf life. It's a determinate variety, which means it's only going to produce so much fruit in a season. They won't just continue to produce fruit. However, what in the world is happening? So this is supposed to be a disease-resistant variety, and in its defense, we have had one heck of a spring. A lot of craziness, high humidity, rain, more rain. Did I mention extreme rain and wind and storms? And hurricane season just started this week and will go through November. We're south of Houston, Texas, so it's very real. And it gets very real here. One thing I want to point out is this disease-resistant variety compared to the other ones that aren't even known, some of them, for being particularly disease-resistant. The Sweet 100 definitely is. But here's a bobcat, and even have the Cherokee Purple, which is absolutely massive. But this is an heirloom variety, and it is more susceptible to disease. And so you can see a little bit down here. But I say all this to say that this Thunderbird tomato actually looks like the most unhealthy plant I have in my entire garden. Also, there's some interesting things going on, like this insect right here, stink bug. Yuck. And so all of this growth is pretty well damaged. It needs to come off. And then look at this. Another yucky stink bug. Hiya, get off there. And then I noticed there's some kind of mite-looking insects all over this stinging tomato. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. If they're resistant in the nature that they can get covered in mites and stink bugs and all sorts of other insects and still produce a tomato, then okay, I'll give it that. I'm just gonna pull this tomato off because it looks pretty rough. There's a lot of little insects all over where it met at the vine, and all of these leaves are pretty rough too down here. Now, hopefully it can recover and continue to produce and do well. Hopefully we'll have some drier days coming. I can see some disease on the leaves too. So I'm actually not really confident. And geez, look at this. The stem looks pretty rough too. I'm not very confident with this Thunderbird tomato that it'll continue to do well over the season, or that it's even doing well right now. I see a bunch of flowers up here, but I can't tell if the flowers actually have fruit producing or if they're just going to fall off because they don't look particularly healthy. The plant is about maybe a little over 2 feet tall, and it says it gets 3 to 4 feet tall and equally as wide. I don't know what to think about this. Out of the entire garden, both this side and all the tomato plants that I have in a different area, this one is looking the most rough. It does produce, I would say, considering the amount of torrential rainfall that we've had, this is a pretty uniform fruit. It is misshapen, but I have a feeling that if we didn't receive so much rain in such a short period of time, it would probably be more uniform. It overall does have a good texture, although it didn't ripen evenly, but I'm also going to blame that on the crazy storms and weather and the fact that the sun beats down very intensely over here, and there's no foliage to provide protection for this tomato. But I've gotten into the habit of showing off the different fruit as it produces per each tomato plant because I have a hard time finding good representation of the various fruits and sizes and how well they do on YouTube. So I figured it would be fun to kind of go along with it this summer and show little videos about how each plant is doing as they are producing fruit. So here's the Thunderbird tomato. So far I give it a solid 3 out of 10. Maybe a 4 out of 10 because it is surviving the horrible storms. But come on, compared to these other tomatoes, it's definitely struggling. for sure.